Hello children, welcome to today's English class. In the last class, we had studied about how to make key points and comprehend while you are trying to read the lessons of your prose book. And we had tried to read and understand the key points of chapter 2, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. Today, let's continue the lesson from page 21 to 23 and try to make how to comprehend the lesson by making the key points. Let's move to the lesson. Children, I have tried to divide the remaining parts of your textbook which were to be studied and comprehended into key points like this. And I have given different headings to each topic that Nelson Mandela has covered during his address or in his autobiography. Next, Nelson Mandela talks about twin obligations in life. The board also many times asks questions, what are the twin obligations Nelson Mandela talks about? And there can also be questions, how can we fulfill these twin responsibilities in our life in the best way we can? So twin obligations in life, what are the twin obligations? The first one is to family, parents, wife, children. Okay, the first obligation we have is towards our family. Like you children, like you obey your parents, listen to them, you try to make them happy, and then once you grow up, you take care of them. So when you grow up and when you get married, then you have other obligations towards your wife, your children, like your parents have obligations towards you, taking care of you. So the first obligation for a man in life is towards his family. So I have put it in points like this. And the second responsibility is towards people, that is towards the community or towards one's country or nation. Like on the one hand, we have responsibility towards or obligation towards our family, and the second obligation is towards our nation, our society. Community means the community to which we belong to, the society to which we belong to. So we also have a certain obligation towards that community and also towards the nation. Of course, nation comes first for us. So that is also an important obligation for us. So he says, in a lifetime, a man fulfills both these responsibilities. But then he talks of South Africa. What does he say? Each man fulfills these obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. We cannot say that everybody fulfills both these responsibilities in the same way. Everybody has got their own way of doing things. So everybody fulfills their obligations towards their family in a different way, towards their nation in a different way. You know, there are so many people who are sincerely dedicated towards the nation. They are serving the nation in their own way. Like for example, now when we are fighting the coronavirus, the pandemic, there are so many frontline corona warriors. So they are not only serving the community, they are also serving the nation. And at the same time, they are also taking care of their family. So this is one of the best examples of fulfilling the twin obligations in our life. Now, what does Nelson Mandela say? He says, in South Africa, for the blacks, it was impossible to fulfill both the obligations. You know, there was racial discrimination already, as we have tried to understand what is the policy of apartheid. Okay, so in South Africa, if anybody tried to fulfill his responsibility towards his family, what he was done? He was forced to live a life of secrecy and rebellion. Maybe they were punished, they were put in prisons, they were taken away from their family. Okay, and if a person tried to fulfill his responsibility towards the community, or if he tried to be a good person, then he was punished and isolated. So children, in South Africa, for the blacks, it was very difficult to fulfill both these obligations. Since they were discriminated, they were not allowed to be with their family. If they tried to take care of their family, they were taken away from the family, they were punished, and they were kept isolated. And even if they tried to be a good human being or do something for the society, they were again punished or isolated. So these are the twin obligations Nelson Mandela talks of, and I have tried to put it in these points, and that too in very simple words. The NCERT textbook also has been designed in such a way that the language is very simple. So while reading the text, maybe you can use many words which are there in the text, or you can look into the dictionary for the word meanings. Some of the word meanings are given in the text itself. So you can maybe write the simple meaning also. If you find a particular word difficult while you are jotting the points, you can also use the meanings given in the text or in the dictionary. You can use simple words instead, which you can easily remember. So this is the way you can practice making the key points out of the given paragraphs of the text, so that you comprehend it in a better manner. Now, the next topic I have chosen for making the key points is freedom. After the twin obligations, Nelson Mandela talks of freedom. Now, what is freedom according to Nelson Mandela? So he talks of freedom in different stages as experienced by him. So I have tried to put it in these points for you, key points for you. Nelson Mandela was not born with a hunger to be free. He says when he was born, he did not have that hunger for freedom. Now, as a child, he was born free to enjoy his life. He enjoyed his childhood. And then he says, as a child, he obeyed his father and abided by the customs of his tribe. So he belonged to a particular tribe, and he abided by the customs and the rules of the tribe, and so he was happy as a child. And then as a youth, he realized that slowly his freedom is being taken away, and he began to hunger for it. Now, the three stages of freedom which Nelson Mandela talks about in the text is freedom as a child. He says when he was a child, as you all also do, he was free to do anything, like he used to go for swimming, he used to play with his friends in the fields, and he used to ride on the backs of bulls, So life was fun when he was a child. He had freedom to do all these things, right? Now, slowly when he grew up and he became a student, so now the meaning of freedom changed for him. As a student, what he wanted to do? He wanted to stay out at night, as many of you also might would want your parents to allow you to do. You often tell your parents, now we are grown up, we can take our own decisions, we are free to go anywhere, free to be with our friends, right? So he wanted the freedom to read what he pleased and to go where he chose, and also to achieve his potential. Potential means the talents which he had, the abilities which he had. So he wanted to achieve those, goals in life, and to earn. Once you grow up and you feel that you are able to earn now, so you want that freedom that you are allowed to work and earn money. So that's what Nelson Mandela even felt, to marry, etc. Right? Taking the freedom of taking decisions in life. So as he grew up as a student, the meaning of freedom changed for him. And slowly he also felt, as I told you in the beginning, that even before Nelson Mandela was born, the racial discrimination had started in South Africa. So when he grew from a child to a youth, as a student, he felt that there was some restriction in his freedom. He was not allowed to do as he pleased. And then slowly when he grew up into a young man, his idea of freedom changed. Now he wanted to serve his people, and also he thought that it was not enough for him to be free. If he finds his people in chains, it means everybody is in chains. He finds himself also in chains. So he feels that it is not just enough for him to be free, but it is equally important for all the people of his country to be free and enjoy the same respect, dignity and equality. So his concept of freedom, he talks about in different stages. So children, I hope it becomes easy for you to understand once you start making points like this in simple language according to different concepts of the lesson. The next concept is the transformation in Nelson Mandela. Now, as he mentions the different stages of his life and the transformation which occurred in him, transformation means a change, how he became a changed person because of this apartheid, because of the racial discrimination, because of his experience, his sufferings, how his thoughts changed. Now let's see the desire for freedom of his people. Now slowly when he turned into a young man, as we saw in the concept of freedom of Nelson Mandela, his thoughts of freedom changed. Now he decided to serve his people, to strive for the freedom of the nation. So he desired freedom for his people, and his desire for the freedom of his people, a life of dignity and self-respect, transformed Nelson Mandela. Now what were the transformation? What were the changes that came as a result of the change of his thought? From a frightened young man, he was transformed into a bold one. That means why he was frightened? Because of the discrimination, racial discrimination which was going on in South Africa for a quite long time, and the people had to suffer. They were tortured, they were beaten, they were put into chains. So there was a kind of fear in the minds of people. So he was a frightened young man when he was a young man, and his ideas of freedom were slowly changing. Now suddenly he became a bold one, as Nelson Mandela also speaks of courage in the chapter. That courage is not absence of fear, but to overcome it. A brave man must learn to face fear and to overcome it. So that courage came into him. That was the transformation. From a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal. So he mentions that as a child, he abided by the law of his community. And then later when he grew up, the people had to abide by the laws of the white people, as they had control over the blacks, and so he had to abide by the rules. Suddenly what he had become? He had become a criminal. Now, criminal does not mean that he has done something wrong to his people or to his community. According to the whites, whoever spoke of freedom, whoever spoke of protesting against the whites or against the racial discrimination were criminals. So his thought changed, and now he decided to be a criminal to fight against the racial discrimination and to free his nation. From a family-loving man without a home. He says that in South Africa it was difficult for a man to fulfill both his obligations, that is towards his family and also towards his nation. So once his thought changed and he decided to serve the nation, he was away from his family. We know that he spent 30 years in prison. So they were, punished from time to time. They were taken from one place to another place, from one prison to another prison. So definitely he had to sacrifice his family life or his home. And then from a life-loving man to a monk. A monk is a person who is totally disconnected from his family. You might have seen the Buddhist monk, they spend most of the time in monasteries, and many sages away from their family, they meditate, they spend a lot of time in prayers and in serving God. So he had a family and he had spent time with his family. Now suddenly, when he decided to serve the nation, he felt that he had become a monk. A monk who had to think not about only his family, but also about the entire nation. So, I have put into points the transformation that occurred in Nelson Mandela. So, you will understand better if you look at the points carefully. It is in very simple words. So, this is the transformation in Nelson Mandela, and then from then his purpose changed and he had to sacrifice a lot to free his nation from the white domination. Now, the next statement of Nelson Mandela. He says, an oppressor must be liberated just as the oppressed. Okay? In the beginning also, he says, while talking about his past life of South Africa, and when he talks of the sufferings of people, he says a person does not begin to hate the moment he is born, right? This slowly enters into his mind. So he says a person must be taught to hate so that he learns to love. Because he says love comes naturally and more quickly than hatred. So he says an oppressor. Here an oppressor is one who treats a particular group of people in a cruel or unfair manner. One who does injustice to them. One who behaves very cruelly to them. So that person is the oppressor. So here the oppressors were the whites who were dominant there and who were, torturing or, make the people of South Africa suffer, and they cruelly ruled over them, right? So they were the oppressors. And the oppressed are the ones who are the victims, who are, to undergo the sufferings because of the oppressors. So here, while talking about the oppressed people, about the black South Africans, he also talks about the oppressors. Isn't this concept something, a great learning for us children? That we always try to punish the people who do something wrong. We say they are wrong. So he says, and we say, suppose when we are talking about the blacks, so we feel bad for them. We have sympathy for them that they suffered because of the color of their skin. But he says that just like we are the sufferers and we are facing injustice, the oppressors are also equally the losers. Now, how does he prove his statement? He says a person who takes away somebody else's freedom is not truly free. So the oppressors who are doing wrong to the oppressed are also not happy. They are also not truly free. Something is being taken away from them also. He says both are robbed of their humanity. They are doing inhuman things. They are continuously causing sufferings to the people just because they belong to a particular race. So, something is being taken away from them of their humanity. And he says both are deprived of basic human virtues. Virtues means good qualities. We all are born with good qualities. Truthfulness, honesty, sincerity, kindness, okay, being selfless, okay, and being sympathetic, okay, being generous. So we all have that good qualities in us. It is upon us how we display those qualities from time to time, how we develop those qualities. Okay, so that is why it is said that our energies need to be directed in a positive manner. Okay, if our energies are utilized, our talents are utilized for some positive things, for constructive purpose, then humanity will benefit from it. And if our qualities, our talents are being directed in a negative manner, then it will cause destruction not only to the humanity but also to us also, to the person who is doing this. So he talks of the oppressor also. He says they are also equally being deprived of basic human virtues, right? They are losing their virtues which they have in them. God has given good qualities to all of us. So they are losing it. So he says the oppressor must be liberated just as the oppressed. So just as the black got their freedom and they became free, they got back their dignity, their respect. In the same way, he says, the oppressors must also be liberated. That means they should also be free of hatred, okay, and all the virtues which they are losing. So they must also be freed of all these negative forces. So, dear children, I hope the statement of Nelson Mandela is clear to us now. So, let's quickly try to look at the whole chapter now. Because in the last class, we tried to look at some of the concepts of the text of the lesson, which was an autobiography of Nelson Mandela. And today we try to look at the remaining concepts. So, now let's try to look at the lesson as a whole now. So, this lesson is a great inspiration for all of us, right? We have a lot to learn. So, in the beginning, we spoke about the inauguration, that is the swearing in ceremony of Nelson Mandela, and we looked at the key points. You know, how many people attended, people from more than 140 countries attended, people of different races attended, different colors attended, and people belonging to different communities attended this function. It was a historic occasion for the people of South Africa. And then we also looked at the arrangements being made, and then we looked at the address of Nelson Mandela. Immediately after the swearing in, he addressed the people of South Africa, where he reminded them of their liberty that they had got after such a long struggle. He also thanked all the dignitaries for being there, and he also told the people that it was a matter of great pride for the people of South Africa to host such a grand function for the different nations of the world. Because even before that, they were outlaws. Many countries had no relations with South Africa because of the political system of apartheid. And then he also talks of the dignity, the respect of people and the freedom of people. And he also calls upon his people to preserve this freedom at any cost. So this address was also a historic one. And then we saw that Nelson Mandela talks of the past. He remembers the great patriots who had contributed in the freedom struggle and whose sacrifices were a great inspiration of all the peoples of South Africa, even to Nelson Mandela. He is so humble that he acknowledges the sacrifices of all those great patriots and says, I'm just carrying forward the work done by those patriots, their sacrifices. So I'm carrying it forward. So he feels very humble at that time while acknowledging the sacrifices of the great patriots. And then he slowly talks of freedom, and then he talks of the twin obligations, and then he talks of the transformation which occurred in him, and then finally he talks both of the oppressor and the oppressed. So in the chapter, he talks of respect, dignity, freedom, okay, and all those attitudes which we must have, especially courage. He explains what courage is, right? So now I hope this chapter is very clear to you, and most important is since it is the autobiography of Nelson Mandela, and he has given us lot of concepts here to learn, and also lot of attributes to be developed in us for us to be able to serve our family, our community, our nation, and the society. So, because every man has got to fulfill these obligations in life. So, here it's not that he is only talking about himself or of his nation. So, in this particular chapter, only a small portion of this particular struggle against apartheid has been given. So, you must not limit yourself only to the textbook. So, you need to refer to other books. There are a lot of books about Nelson Mandela. You need to read them as you have a lot of time now. You can read a lot of articles on Nelson Mandela. You know, on the YouTube you have his speeches, the inaugural speech, the very historic speech of Nelson Mandela, which was given on 10th May 1904 when he was sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. So that you can get all these speeches on the net. So if you have access to it, please listen to the speeches of Nelson Mandela. They are very inspiring and a great learning for all of us. So you must listen to his speeches, you must read more about him, read more about apartheid, read more about these kind of inhuman behavior which took place in the past, so that you are able to understand and comprehend the lesson well, and also are able to write well. You know, many times what happens, that you feel after reading a particular lesson that you have understood. Once you read or twice you read, you feel that you have understood the chapter. But when you begin writing, you really feel difficult. You feel that you don't have points to write. Sometimes you get questions carrying 150 words. So the moment you start writing, you feel that, or you are running a shortage of words, okay, you're not getting proper vocabulary, or you don't remember the events that happened in the lesson. For this very reason, children, I told you that you need to use different strategies for reading the lesson. From the beginning, I have been giving you different strategies, like referring to dictionary, writing down the difficult words, writing down the qualities of the person, the main characters of the chapter. And while we were reading this particular chapter, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom, we learned how to divide the lessons into different concepts, into different topics, and how to make different key points under that particular topic in your own words, so that it will help you to remember the concepts. And while you yourself are making the notes, writing down the topics and noting down the key points, you will remember the concepts and also the points, and it will greatly help you while you're writing down the answers. Now, as I was discussing, while I was discussing the key points from this particular chapter, the concept of courage according to Nelson Mandela, the concept of freedom, and why he says that both the oppressor and the oppressed need to be freed. Both of them need freedom. So these are the different topics from which questions can be asked. And of course, the contribution of Nelson Mandela in achieving the freedom for his nation, or his personality, his character. So you need to really know what are the points you need to remember if you have to answer this particular question, or you have to write about Nelson Mandela's contribution. So let's look at some of the qualities and points. Children, when you have to answer questions related to great personalities, like in this chapter, Nelson Mandela. So as I told you, you need to listen to their speeches, you need to have some quotes of that personality. Okay, as you often write in articles or in speeches, you quote that personality. So I would suggest that you should have some quotes of Nelson Mandela with you, and whenever you begin to write the answer, if you begin with a quote related to that particular concept. If he is talking of freedom, then some of his quotes, one of his quotes related to freedom. Or if you have to write about his courage, so his quote. Or his love for the nation, love for his people, so the quote related to that concept. So I have written two quotes of Nelson Mandela here that I have taken from his speech. I greet you all in the name of peace, democracy and freedom for all. That means he was dedicated to his people. He served his people with an objective to ensure peace, democracy and freedom for all. So you can note down this, or you can click a picture of this particular quote, or you can get his quotes in many other books also. Now one more, I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. So here, when he addresses his people, you know, people have a tendency to call their leader who has given them everything as God. They address them as God. So he says, I am not here before you as a prophet, as a manifestation, but I am a humble servant of you. So these two quotes talk about some of the qualities of Nelson Mandela. For example, he was dedicated, he was humble, he had sacrificed, okay, and he acknowledges the contribution of the patriots, the sacrifices of the patriots, and that is why he considers himself very humble, and he sacrificed his life, right? 30 years he was in the prison, and he was dedicated to the people of his nation. He was very humble, and also he was a great leader, right? And a source of inspiration to the world. Right? So, and also he possessed courage, he was firm, determined, okay, You can write down more qualities after reading the text, and you can describe this personality by writing some of his quotes and describing these qualities in his freedom struggle and in his becoming the first black president of South Africa. So, dear children, as I have been telling you, making notes, making the key points, dividing the chapter into different topics will help you to comprehend the lesson better. I hope you have learned how to write down the key points from the lesson, and I hope you will read the lesson again and try to make the key points and divide the lessons into different topics, and also try to look at the questions given in the textbook and write down the answers in your own words. When you write and practice more, your writing skills will develop and it will also become creative. So, see you in the next class. Until then, take care, stay safe, stay at home.